that we have people in our government that is so high on authority that they believe they could do this to us in the first place is enough reason to not allow the government to disarm us.
Give me your best Greta Thunberg, how dare you?
How dare you?
Thank you. Thanks, guys.
All right, thanks,
David Menzies for Rebel News here in Toronto. Well, folks, I'm back at Queen's Park. It's the third Saturday protest in a row. And, I wonder what Premier Doug Ford is going to say about this one. After the first one, he called the people here a, quote, bunch of yahoos, end quote. And then last week, there were some people displaying the Canadian flag upside down. Now, naturally, that is a symbol of distress. But Premier Ford somehow interpreted it differently. This is what he had to say.
They have the nerve to fly our Canadian flag upside down and disrespect the men and women of our Canadian Armed Forces. If they want to fly our flag upside down, they don't respect our country. I'll be the first to help them pack their bags and they can find a country that they want.
So again, it's very odd. Internationally, the upside down flag, as I said, is recognized as a sign of distress. So I wonder how Premier Ford interpreted that as anti-military, because I can tell you from the vibe I get in this crowd, the folks here tend to be very, very pro-military. So let's go and see what's bringing the people out this week, and let's find out if any of them are going to take up the Premier on his offer to, well, help them pack their bags and find another country to live in, although I think it's going to be kind of hard under the Wuhan virus protocols, given that who's flying these days? Premier Ford's interpretation of an upside-down flag was expressing disdain or disrespect for the military, and that he would personally help you pack your bags to find another country to live in. What do you make of those comments?
Well, I'd offer him the same thing. If he doesn't like it, he can pack his bags and go somewhere else too. He can go back to his cottage that he told us not to go to.
Maybe they should understand what it stands for. A country in distress. We're in distress.
We would love to pack his bags in 2022 and send him back to the cottage.
Literally, he was just trying to turn the people who are really ignorant against the protesters. What he was aiming to do was to make people mad at the people who are actually fighting for freedom. The reality is that an upside down flag, like you've said, is just a sign of distress, nothing more. And the fact is, no one's moving anywhere, Doug Ford. We voted you in, and how about you go ask Trudeau why he's giving $853 million of taxpayers' money to the UN. That's who he should worry about. We're not moving anywhere. We're going to stay here and demand for our rights, period.
We think we have rights and freedoms, but we have privileges and allowances. And the way they've rolled this out is a perfect example of when push comes to shove and the authoritarians want to enforce their will upon the people, this is what happens.
Well, I come from a military family, so a lot of people in my family have actually fought and died for our freedom, the freedoms of Canada that I am trying to defend now by speaking out. So, yes, I do consider it very insulting. Same with him calling us a bunch of yahoos. As far as I'm concerned, we're the yahoos that pay him. We're his boss, and he should start listening to the people.
When you can't articulate your position with facts and data, you name call. That's an ad hominem attack. And he's got nothing, so he's name calling. And it's intellectually dishonest.
I don't know. I just thought he was for the people. Isn't that what he said? But I'm not feeling it right now. I really am not.
I hope you get your wish, my friend, and you get back to school very quickly.
Yep, I really do hope to go back to school. I mean, I'm cold, so I'm out. Me and my mom are out here so we can make a difference.
Give me your best Greta Thunberg, how dare you?
How dare you?
They're very easy to make. You take a little potato, you put a on it, and it becomes a dictator.
We need to come back and realize that we can't just sit in our homes. The sunlight kills this virus. There are cures for this virus. The vaccines are not the cure. We can't sit at home and wait for the vaccines.
Like, oh, come on. You couldn't figure out the flu vaccine for 30 years. Now you're going to figure this out in like 3 months? It's not going to happen.
You know how you open the province? Say open. You know how you open the city? Say open. Whoever feels safe to open, open. Whoever feels safe to go to the businesses, go to the businesses. If you want to stay home, stay home. That's called freedom and democracy. What happened to that?
And it's always going to be about who's got the loudest voice, who is going to have the most money, who's got the most to lose versus who's going to be the person who's not going to complain. And, this city is wide full of people that are saying, hey, we're okay opening to sell pizzas while the guy next door selling chicken wings is going to go broke. Who decides that?
That's what they did in Germany in 1963. This is East Germany. You don't work, you might work, you're essential, you're not essential. That happened a long time ago. And history repeats itself. If you don't understand what happened in the past, it will happen to you again, and it's happening now here in this country. Fascism is grabbing hold.
How are we ignorant? How are we not looking at the facts, asking the questions? Why is Rebel News not allowed to go interview the potato at his place? Like, how is that not allowed? We want to hear the real story.
Well, look at those yahoos out there not keeping the rank and file of the normal, how dare they drop the chain of command from the people at home sitting around watching videos and hanging out and stuff. And I'm like, wait a second, hold on. Number one, you're assuming that I have a chain of command.
And that's really what people need to understand. This is not a political issue. This is a life issue.
Of course it is. I've been out of work since this stuff began. You know what? Mental health issues, depression, suicide are going to have a larger toll on the population than the supposed virus itself.
23 people a day, every day, all year long, died from the common flu. So it's like 700 a month. And no one was shutting down the economy then.
So in other words, it's been an overreaction, maybe that the cure has been worse than the curse.
David, I don't believe this was ever about a virus. This is a communist takeover.
And there's lots of people here that come from other countries that remind themselves and remember what communism is all about, fascism, people dying in countries of starvation. And they're here going, wake up. We got a guy over here named Carlos from Cuba, and he's like, yeah, we know what that's like. You don't want that here.
I came from Poland about 30 years ago, and I lived there through martial law, and my father being discriminated by the government back there for all kinds of reasons, basically speaking the truth.
This is when Poland was under communist rule then, right?
Right. I remember when martial law happened and he knew they may come for him. And he was thinking, how do they get Daniel out of the house when they come to get him?
So, ma'am, do you see a little bit of communist Poland coming into Ontario today?
It's not little bit, it's communist on steroids. I can't believe what is happening to this country, and I tell you what, when I came here, my father gave me his whole life saving to buy a ticket to come to Canada. It was time was very tough, and to save this kind of money in dollars bought, of course, on the black market, it was really something for him, and he had all his hope that I'm coming to the free world.
Glorious and free. We are here standing up for our rights. We are not yahoos. There's a lot of truth that needs to come forward into the public eye, and we are forefronting that truth. And get ready, wake up. It's time. It's time to fight back.
We stand on guard for
Have you been victimized by the so-called pandemic police? Have you had one of those $880 tickets for, walking in the park or sitting in a park bench? Well, folks, if you have a story to tell, let us know. Go to fightthefines.com. That's fightthefines.com. And if we think your story has merit, we will crowdfund your legal fees and fight that ticket in court. And hey, folks, if you don't have a story to tell and you'd like to chip in a few bucks to help us crowdfund those legal fees, please, by all means, do so. Thank you.